The room is quiet. You are not leaving it, yet something within begins to rise. The hum of air fades into the hum of engines that are not engines at all, but the imagined pull of ascent. Below, the earth curls into a vast blue marble, suspended in the blackness that has no edge. The line between sky and space blurs into velvet, and you are carried beyond it, not by speed, but by surrender. The horizon widens, and the first stars begin to breathe through the thin veil of atmosphere. Far below, the continents drift under layers of cloud that fold and unfold like silk. You can almost trace the curve of coastlines, the silver streak of rivers, the faint spark of cities where people still sleep, unaware of your quiet journey. Gravity's hand relaxes its hold, and everything that once weighed upon your body becomes light. The earth no longer feels large, it feels alive, tender, like a single heart pulsing in the dark sea of space. The sunlight here is different. It is sharper, purer, without the soft scatter of air to dim it. It spills across the panels of the imagined craft, glinting from metal like the edge of a promise. Shadows become absolute, carved clean by light that travels 93 million miles to find you. You can sense its age, 8 minutes and 20 seconds old, born from nuclear fire at the sun's core, now whispering across your face in silence. As you rise higher, the earth reveals its atmosphere as a delicate band, thin, luminous, fragile. It is the only blanket life has ever known. You realize then how thinly life clings to the surface, a film of breath upon a cosmic stone. From here, that breath looks eternal, but it is only a shimmer in the void, the same way dew clings to grass before the first light takes it away. Beyond the atmosphere, sound dies. The engines, if they existed, would make no noise. The air that carries vibration is gone. What remains is an endless stillness that feels neither cold nor empty, but vast and accepting. It is the quietest place imaginable. You understand why astronauts sometimes weep here, not from fear, but from the profound, wordless knowing of where they are. You turn toward the sun, and for the first time, you see its brilliance unfiltered. It does not flicker. It does not waver. Its light floods the void with a steady, golden certainty. Around you, the solar wind drifts invisibly, a river of charged particles streaming outward at hundreds of kilometers per second. Yet everything feels motionless. The body cannot sense speed without resistance. Here, you move swiftly but feel still, suspended in forever. Looking back, the earth glows like a jewel. Whites of cloud swirl over the blues of ocean, traced by the browns and greens of continents. The polar caps gleam faintly, and the terminator line, the divide between day and night, draws a soft curve across the planet's skin. On one side, sunlight paints the Pacific gold, on the other, night scatters constellations across familiar skies. The view is humbling. It is the whole of home, contained in silence. Drifting outward, you begin to see the moon approach from a distance, a companion, scarred and patient. Its light is reflected, borrowed, pale as porcelain under the sun's gaze. Between Earth and Moon lies a vast space, almost 384,000 kilometers of emptiness, and yet their bond feels intimate, gravitational, constant. The moon circles faithfully, its rhythm woven into the tides and the pulse of every living thing that once looked up. Past the moon, darkness deepens. The sun's light still reaches you, but the stars begin to claim their dominance. You can see them not as scattered points, but as living suns, each holding their own planets, their own stories. Space no longer feels like emptiness, it feels full, saturated with quiet possibility. The blackness is not black, it is a deep, endless spectrum of unseen color, vibrating with the faint hum of radiation left from the universe's birth. As the journey continues, time loosens. Minutes stretch like hours, hours dissolve into stillness. There are no clocks here, only motion measured in orbits, in rotations, in the slow breathing of celestial mechanics. You sense the earth spinning far behind you, one rotation every 24 hours, its equator rushing faster than sound, though no one down there feels the wind of that speed. You pass beyond the realm of satellites, beyond the last human-made echoes that circle Earth like metallic fireflies. The territory ahead is empty of invention, filled only with the ancient machinery of nature. The gravitational pull of the planet still tugs faintly, but you are slipping free, moving into the long corridors between worlds. Each kilometer brings a deeper quiet, each moment a wider calm. There is no up or down anymore. Orientation dissolves. You could be drifting sideways, upside down, or inverted around nothing at all. The brain protests at first, then adapts. Floating feels natural here, as though gravity was always the dream. And this weightlessness the true state of being. Even thoughts begin to move differently, slower, more deliberate, like clouds in a windless sky. You notice sunlight bending softly against the curve of the earth behind you. The limb glows with a thin blue rim, the scattering of light through the very last layers of atmosphere. It is breathtaking and ephemeral, like watching a candle through frosted glass. In that edge lies everything: air, water, life, the sum of all stories. The line glows, and then it fades as you drift further, until Earth becomes a small marble against the infinite. Now, stars begin to multiply. They appear not as static points, but as a living sea. The Milky Way unfurls faintly, a luminous river crossing the dark. From here, it's a soft haze, billions of suns seen edge on, their light layered through dust and gas. You realize you are already part of it, carried around its center on an orbit older than humanity. The thought is grounding, even as you drift farther from the ground itself. You think of distance differently now. A kilometer means nothing, light years make more sense. Light travels nearly 10 trillion kilometers each year, and yet the nearest star beyond the Sun, Proxima Centauri, lies over 4 of those light years away. Even traveling at the speed of light, the journey would last longer than a lifetime. But this isn't a trip of bodies, it's a voyage of perception, where imagination moves faster than photons. The body breathes slower in this thought space. Each inhale draws in the idea of infinity, each exhale releases the remnants of urgency. There is nowhere to arrive at, and that is peace. You realize that liftoff isn't escape, it's expansion. Leaving Earth means carrying it within, a blue echo behind the eyelids, a reminder of home as you wander through nothing that feels like everything. Behind you, the Earth continues its ancient rotation, spinning under clouds and continents. Weather systems dance. Oceans shift their patterns. Somewhere, it is morning. Somewhere else, night. From this height, you can see both at once, sunrise and sunset sharing the same world, stitched together by light. The contrast is beautiful, and quietly humbling. Everything you have ever known fits within that curve. A faint shimmer crosses your path, tiny particles, perhaps remnants of old satellites or dust drifting from comets. Each grain glints as sunlight strikes it, then vanishes into shadow. It reminds you that space is not empty but filled with motion so subtle it becomes invisible. Every flicker is a relic of formation, a whisper from the early days of the solar system, frozen in its wandering. As you move farther, the solar wind hums against your awareness, streams of protons and electrons rushing outward from the sun, shaping invisible boundaries known as the heliosphere. You drift within it, inside the protective bubble of our star's breath. Beyond it lies interstellar space, where other winds from other suns meet and mingle in unseen currents. The thought is comforting, even in the vastness, everything touches. You close your eyes and imagine Earth again. The blue glow lingers behind your eyelids like the memory of warmth. You remember the sound of wind, the scent of rain, the gentle press of gravity. Out here, those sensations become sacred, reminders of the fragile conditions that allow life to bloom. The universe feels immense, but the gift of existence feels intimate. The silence returns, deeper than before. You are no longer climbing, you are simply floating, part of the grand equilibrium that binds planets and stars alike. Motion here is endless, yet utterly still. The sun continues to shine, the earth continues to turn, and you, suspended between them, begin to drift into a kind of cosmic sleep. The journey has just begun, but already you understand the meaning of liftoff, to rise not away from home, but into its reflection, scattered among the stars. The sun waits quietly in its lane of the galaxy, a golden lantern adrift in the Orion Arm, surrounded by countless companions. It burns not as a raging inferno but as a steady pulse, a heart within the quiet body of the cosmos. Around it, space stretches in every direction, cold and immeasurable, yet filled with unseen harmony. Here, gravity hums softly, keeping the solar family together, bound by invisible threads of light and motion. The sun's warmth radiates across billions of kilometers, touching worlds that never speak yet always listen. Each ray leaves its surface and travels outward for minutes, hours, and days, until it reaches the edge of the solar system, faint, diluted, but still present. Even at that distance, the light carries memory, as though the sun whispers to every frozen moon and distant particle, "You are still part of me." In this cosmic neighborhood, planets trace their eternal paths with patient discipline. Mercury, the closest, dances in dizzying speed, circling the sun in mere weeks. Venus follows, cloaked in clouds that trap heat like an endless embrace. Earth spins next, a blue marble wrapped in air and life. Beyond her, Mars drifts, red and cold, then come the giants Jupiter and Saturn, vast enough to shape the paths of countless asteroids through their mighty gravities. Each world glows faintly in the reflected light of the sun, like quiet mirrors turning in the dark. None of them produce their own light, they borrow it, bend it, return it changed. This gentle exchange is the poetry of the system, energy passed from one to another, a rhythm that never tires. Even Pluto, exiled and small, still feels that glow across the frozen distance, a flicker of warmth in the kingdom of ice. The sun's light is both ancient and immediate. What touches your skin left its surface 8 minutes ago, but the energy within that photon began its journey hundreds of thousands of years earlier, struggling upward from the solar core. There, in that dense heart, hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing the energy that becomes sunlight. The process is slow, deliberate, like a heartbeat that takes centuries to exhale. Beyond the known planets, the solar wind drifts outward, an invisible breath of charged particles moving at hundreds of kilometers per second. It extends past the orbit of Neptune, shaping a vast bubble known as the heliosphere. Inside this cocoon, the sun's influence reigns. Beyond it, interstellar space begins, the domain of other stars, other winds. Our sun's neighborhood is but one bubble among billions floating in the galactic ocean. Nearby stars shimmer faintly in the distance, each one its own sun, its own system of possibilities. The closest, Proxima Centauri, lies over 4 light-years away. In the scale of the galaxy, that is a small step, yet to us, it's an unfathomable gulf. The light from Proxima that we see tonight began its journey years ago. When it reaches our eyes, we are looking not into the present, but into the preserved echo of time. The sun itself orbits the center of the Milky Way, traveling at about 220 kilometers per second, completing one full circle every 200 million years. Around it, billions of other stars share this grand motion, each following its own silent path. The galaxy spins like a vast pinwheel, but no one feels the movement. It is too vast, too patient, its rotation slower than memory itself. In this neighborhood, there are no boundaries, only gradients of light and gravity. The sun's presence fades gently into that of its neighbors, Barnard's star, Wolf 359, Sirius, Epsilon Eridani. Some burn fiercely, some faintly, but all exist within the same cosmic district, a loose congregation of wanderers tied together by the galactic pull. It is a community that never speaks, yet shares the same eternal current. When we gaze up from Earth and see the sun's warmth in the daytime sky, we seldom remember how small it truly is. Among the stars, it's an average, modest being. There are giants that dwarf it 1,000-fold, and tiny dwarfs that flicker like embers. Yet its modesty is its gift, stable, kind, enduring. Its quiet nature has allowed life to bloom on one of its orbiting worlds, and that small miracle outshines even the most powerful supergiant. Solar flares occasionally ripple across its surface, arches of fire leaping thousands of kilometers high. To us, they appear as gentle fluctuations, but each carries more energy than millions of atomic bombs. Yet even in these storms, there is order. Magnetic fields twist and fold like the fingers of a pianist, releasing their music in bursts of plasma and light. The sun's temperament is fierce, but its rhythm is calm. Every planet, every moon, every grain of dust owes its orbit to that gravity. The sun holds them not by force but by balance, allowing them to move freely while keeping them tethered. It is a dance both ancient and perfect, centrifugal pull matched against gravitational embrace. Should the sun vanish, everything would fly into chaos, but as long as it burns, the music of the system continues without pause. Through telescopes, we see the sun as a blinding disk, yet beneath that brightness lies complexity beyond imagination. Its surface roils like living skin, cells of plasma rising and falling in convective motion. The outer corona extends millions of kilometers, shimmering faintly even when eclipsed. Scientists once believed it a mystery how that outer layer could be hotter than the surface beneath, but in space, mysteries are part of the music. If you listen closely, not with ears but with thought, you can almost hear the hum of solar vibration. The sun sings in frequencies too low for human hearing, waves of sound rippling through its structure, revealing its hidden interior. This song is continuous, endless, vibrating across millions of years. It is the voice of the neighborhood center, speaking not in words but in waves. Beyond the planets, a belt of icy bodies orbits, the Kuiper belt, home to dwarf planets, comets, and ancient relics from the solar system's youth. These fragments drift slowly, untouched since formation, preserving the memory of creation. Every so often, a comet is nudged inward, falling toward the sun, igniting into brilliance as ice turns to vapor. Even destruction here glows with beauty. The edge of the neighborhood is not a wall but a fading of warmth. At its outer boundary lies the heliopause, where the solar wind weakens, giving way to interstellar breeze. Beyond that invisible frontier, the particles of other stars flow. The Voyager probes, launched decades ago, now drift there, silent ambassadors of humanity, carrying our greetings through an ocean of starlight. The sun's companions, asteroids and comets, follow erratic paths, some stable, others unpredictable. They remind us that even within the order of orbits, there is a wildness that endures. These rocks and ices, older than any civilization, move with purpose that feels accidental but is perfectly gravitational. The sun pulls them, then releases them, and the cycle continues, eternal and effortless. From afar, if one could see the solar system as a whole, it would appear delicate, planets like pearls strung along invisible threads, circling a glowing bead at the center. The distances between them are vast, yet the system feels compact compared to the galaxy beyond. It's a reminder that scale is an illusion. What feels infinite to us is but a tiny whisper in the Milky Way's vast breadth. The sun's light eventually fades into the darkness of space, but its influence stretches far beyond what light alone can reach. Gravity, though invisible, has no limit. Every star in the galaxy tugs upon every other, an infinite web of motion. Our sun's neighborhood is part of this web, and through it, we are connected indirectly but undeniably to the whole of the cosmos. To imagine the sun's neighborhood is to imagine home not as a planet but as a system, a small but stable family of worlds spinning through night. Each orbit marks time, not in days or years, but in harmony. Seasons change, atmospheres breathe, moons whisper in their cycles. The sun gives, and in return, its companions remain faithful, revolving in endless gratitude. And when night falls on Earth, and you look upward, you see only a single star among billions. Yet that star, our sun, is the heart of our existence, the fire that forged us, the light that defines our days. Its warmth is both physical and ancestral. Even as you close your eyes and drift toward sleep, that warmth continues to reach you, crossing the cold vacuum in quiet devotion, whispering across the distance, "You are still part of me." Far beyond the reach of our solar winds, the Milky Way stretches into a vast spiral of light and shadow. From afar, it would look like a glowing whirlpool, arms unfurling with patient grace, each curve a river of stars flowing around an unseen center. Yet from within, the structure feels mysterious, like living inside a fog of lanterns, unable to see the pattern they form. The spiral arms are the silent highways of the galaxy, and the dust lanes are their soft, dark boundaries, where light hides to rest. Each spiral arm is not a solid path but a wave of density, a rhythm that travels slowly around the galactic disk. Stars are born in these regions as gas clouds are compressed by the gentle squeeze of gravity and rotation. The process is invisible, yet it sculpts beauty on a scale so immense that words falter. To the sleeping listener, the image of these arms can feel like the pulse of eternity itself, coiling, stretching, breathing, just as the universe does. The Milky Way has several of these arms, each named for constellations that point our way: Perseus, Sagittarius, Scutum Centaurus, and Carina. Between two of these great structures lies a smaller spur, the Orion Arm, and it is here that our sun quietly drifts. Imagine it, our entire solar system moving through a faint bridge between giants, a narrow path of starlight threading the galaxy's grand design. From this vantage, we are neither center nor edge, but a tranquil traveler between them. The dust lanes that weave between the arms are no less beautiful. They appear as dark streaks when we look at the Milky Way from Earth, blotting out the bright river of stars behind them. Yet these shadows are not emptiness, they are cradles of creation. Made of fine carbon grains, silicates, and frozen gases, they form clouds so thick with potential that starlight cannot pass through. Within their depths, new suns are quietly forming, unseen by any eye but the mind's. Drifting through one of these lanes would feel like moving through ink. Light dims, temperature drops, and the universe itself seems to pause. But in that darkness, molecules begin their ancient dance. Hydrogen binds to hydrogen, forming the seeds of stars. Gravity whispers, and the dust obeys. Slowly, across eons, the hidden regions glow from within as newborn stars ignite. Breaking free from their dark cocoons like sparks escaping from deep velvet. From afar, these dark streaks give the Milky Way its texture. Without them, the galaxy would appear too smooth, too featureless. The interplay of brightness and shadow gives depth to the cosmic canvas. It is the same way light and dark shape a painting, how silence gives meaning to sound. The dust lanes, in their obscurity, teach us that absence is not loss, it is the quiet stage upon which creation performs. As we drift along a spiral arm, the density of stars thickens. Each one moves with silent precision, caught in a gravitational symphony. The pattern of the arms isn't permanent, it evolves over millions of years, as stars move in and out, following the rhythm of rotation. The galaxy is not fixed, it breathes, its arms rising and falling like tides. We are passengers upon one of these slow, luminous waves. The spaces between the arms are more diffuse, filled with older stars that have wandered from their birthplaces. Here, the light is softer, more golden. The stars burn less fiercely, their energy mellowed by age. They drift in graceful solitude, orbiting the galactic center in patience beyond comprehension. To gaze upon them is to understand the long memory of the cosmos, where nothing truly ends, only cools, only changes. Each arm glows with its own hue. Young, hot stars give off a brilliant blue-white light, painting the arms with radiance. As you move outward, the tone shifts to yellow, then orange, as stars grow older. Dust and gas scatter the light, softening it into subtle gradients. If the galaxy were music, these colors would be its chords, a slow, harmonic progression from the high notes of youth to the deep resonance of age. In the arms, clusters of stars form like constellations on grander scales. Some are open clusters, loose families of newly born suns that shine together before drifting apart. Others, older and denser, cling tightly to one another, resisting the long pull of time. These stellar families are the fingerprints of creation, scattered across the spiral arms like gems in a riverbed, gleaming for a while before dissolving into the flow. Through the dust lanes, interstellar winds drift softly. These are not winds as we know them but flows of charged particles, subtle, silent, and pervasive. They carry traces of ancient supernovae, atoms forged in explosions that once lit the arms with brilliance. Every breath of cosmic wind contains memory, carbon from the death of a massive star, oxygen that may one day form the breath of life. The galaxy recycles itself endlessly, and we, unknowingly, are part of that cycle. When viewed from Earth's surface, the Milky Way appears as a faint band of silver stretched across the night. That band is our edge-on view of the galactic disk, a glimpse of one arm seen from within another. Between the glowing streaks, the dust lanes cut their dark, intricate patterns. The human eye cannot resolve the distance between them, yet telescopes reveal layer upon layer, billions of stars stacked in impossible depth. Each spiral arm slowly turns around the galactic core, completing one revolution roughly every 200 million years. The stars themselves move independently, passing in and out of the arms like leaves caught in a river current. The spiral pattern endures even as its members change. It is not made of permanence, but of repetition, a structure of rhythm, not matter. The beauty lies not in stillness, but in the illusion of it. In certain regions, shockwaves from supernovae compress clouds of dust, triggering new bursts of star formation. These events illuminate the spiral arms with glowing nebulae, vast clouds lit from within by newborn suns. They shimmer in pinks and blues, the signature colors of hydrogen and oxygen excited by light. If one could float among them, the view would be both terrifying and tender, destruction feeding creation, chaos giving rise to calm. The dust lanes, for all their opacity, are delicate. A single cubic meter of such a cloud contains fewer atoms than the emptiest vacuum on Earth. Yet on the scale of light years, they become vast, heavy curtains, obscuring half the galaxy from our view. Through radio and infrared observation, we peer beyond them, revealing what the eye cannot. The universe hides, but never completely, it only asks that we learn new ways to see. At the intersection of arms, where dust gathers thickest, lie the nurseries of the brightest stars. These giants burn quickly, living only millions of years before ending in violent collapse. Their deaths scatter heavy elements into the lanes, enriching the dust for future generations of stars and planets. In this way, the galaxy renews itself in cycles, a cosmic garden where death is simply another form of bloom. To imagine drifting through a spiral arm is to feel both awe and peace. You would see suns scattered like lanterns, separated by distances too great for comprehension. Between them, rivers of gas shimmer faintly, and the darkness hums with potential. Every direction would appear endless, yet the pattern would whisper order, a gentle curve guiding you, unseen, toward the galactic heart. As you move further along the arm, you may encounter regions where starlight dims behind curtains of dust. These are the resting places of creation, the intervals between bright notes. Here, molecules spin lazily, combining and parting in the slow chemistry of time. Even silence is alive here. Even shadow has meaning. The absence of light is not emptiness, it is the soil from which illumination grows. In the softest view, the spiral arms resemble the flowing lines of a shell, the kind one holds to the ear to hear the sea. Perhaps the universe has the same hum, a resonance carried in its rotation. The Milky Way, turning slowly over billions of years, hums its quiet tone through every particle it holds. It is the same hum that guides planets around stars, and stars around the center, in a never-ending circular waltz. The dust lanes are the pauses in that music. They slow the rhythm, stretch the melody, let silence breathe. Without them, the galaxy would be too bright, too flat. Their darkness makes the light meaningful, just as dreams give waking life its depth. Within them, the invisible becomes real, magnetic fields, molecular bonds, and the first hints of new beginnings. Each lane hides a future sun waiting for its cue. When you gaze upon a photograph of the Milky Way, the mind cannot fully grasp what it sees. Each light point is a sun, each shadow a nursery, each curve a testament to time's patience. But as the eyes close and imagination takes over, the pattern begins to move. You can almost feel the arms turning, sweeping through darkness with endless calm, dust lanes weaving between them like rivers of ink through silver parchment. And as you drift, you begin to understand. The spiral arms are not roads to travel, they are the breath of the galaxy itself. The dust lanes are its dreams, soft and opaque, where creation hides until it is ready to shine. Together they form the pulse of the Milky Way, a rhythm older than light, slower than thought, steady as sleep. And as that realization settles, the journey grows quiet again, wrapping the listener in darkness lit only by distant, breathing stars. Between the spiraling arms of our galaxy lies an ocean of vastness, a place not of water, but of quiet, scattered light and drifting dust. The interstellar sea, as it is often called, is both empty and full at once. It stretches endlessly between the stars, its currents made not of wind but of radiation, particles, and invisible magnetic tides. To travel through it would be like moving through a dream that never ends, no shore, no horizon, only a constant, slow shimmer of distant suns that guide the way. Though we call it a sea, its texture is thinner than any vacuum we can imagine. Within a cubic centimeter, there may be only a handful of atoms, floating far apart in eternal solitude. Yet, over distances measured in light years, those few atoms gather significance. They form rivers of hydrogen that meander through the galaxy, nebulae that glow faintly in the dark, and waves of energy that ripple through unseen dimensions. It is in this vast, subtle ocean that all stars are born and to which they eventually return. The interstellar sea is not still. It flows with energy from dying suns, with debris from collisions, with the echo of ancient supernovae that still roll outward like thunder. Invisible magnetic fields thread through it, twisting and bending its contents into intricate patterns. To a drifting traveler, the journey through it would not feel like motion but suspension, as if time itself were caught in the delicate pause between breaths. There, the universe holds its secrets in whispers too faint for most ears to hear. Stars breathe into this sea constantly. When they live, they emit steady winds of charged particles, solar winds that flow outward for billions of miles before merging into the greater current. When they die, they shed their outer layers violently, enriching the interstellar medium with heavy elements iron, carbon, oxygen, and gold. The sea gathers these offerings and stirs them gently, mixing the ashes of old stars with the raw hydrogen of new beginnings. Even in its emptiness, the interstellar sea glows faintly. This glow, known as the diffuse galactic light, is the combined reflection of countless stars off interstellar dust. It is the faint breath of creation itself, never bright, never dark, but suspended in perpetual twilight. To the eyes of a sensitive soul, it feels like looking into eternity's veil, seeing not the stars themselves, but the memory of their light scattered in all directions. The sea's calm hides turbulence. Shockwaves travel through it when massive stars explode, sending fronts of energy that compress nearby gas clouds. These waves can trigger star formation far from the original blast, like ripples spreading across an endless pond. One act of destruction becomes the birth cry of another generation. In this way, the galaxy renews itself endlessly, the interstellar sea both the womb and the grave of starlight. If you could float through this cosmic ocean, you would see filaments of faint gas glowing in red and violet hues. Some regions would be dense enough to shimmer with nebular light, while others would fade into near-nothingness. Magnetic lines would twist the charged particles into intricate ropes, invisible but powerful, like unseen kelp forests swaying in an ethereal tide. It is a beauty that cannot be touched, only felt, a motion beneath silence. In certain pockets, cosmic rays dart like invisible fish, moving near the speed of light. They travel from distant galaxies, crossing unimaginable distances to pass through our Milky Way. Some strike planets, some drift aimlessly for eons. Each carries the signature of its origin, a trace of energy from some ancient explosion, perhaps billions of years gone. They are the travelers of the interstellar sea, voyagers without destination or rest. The sea's density changes subtly from place to place. In the vast regions between spiral arms, it grows thin and cold. Temperatures here fall close to absolute zero, and even light struggles to travel far. Yet within the spiral arms, where the gas thickens, the sea becomes warm with activity. Stars cluster like coral reefs, their radiation heating nearby clouds, their gravity sculpting the flow. Each region, each current, has its own rhythm, its own color, its own tone. Our solar system moves through this interstellar medium at great speed, about 230 kilometers per second around the galactic center. Though we do not feel it, we are constantly swimming through this vast ocean. The heliosphere, the bubble created by the sun's solar wind, shields us from much of the sea's direct influence, like the hull of a ship against surrounding waters. Yet traces slip through, particles that reach Earth, messages from the wider galaxy. Beyond the edge of the heliosphere, the interstellar sea begins in earnest. The Voyager probes, sent decades ago, have now crossed this boundary. Their instruments measure the subtle change in particle density, the faint whisper of interstellar plasma. They drift now in open cosmic waters, carrying our human signature farther than anything else ever has. Their journey is not through space alone but through history, a message in a bottle cast into eternity. Within this sea float islands of gas known as molecular clouds. These are the densest regions of interstellar space, where gravity can take hold. Inside them, molecules form, hydrogen joining with carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen in slow, delicate chemistry. Over time, these clouds cool, fragment, and collapse into stars. Every point of light in the night sky was once a ripple in this sea, a condensation of gas drawn together by invisible hands. The colors of the interstellar sea are faint but profound. Hydrogen glows red when excited by nearby starlight, while oxygen shimmers in soft green and blue. These colors tell astronomers the composition of the clouds, but to poets, they are the breath of the cosmos made visible. Imagine an aurora stretching across thousands of light-years, painting the void with colors the human eye could never fully see. That is the silent artistry of the interstellar sea. Within this vastness, dust plays a quiet but powerful role. Each grain is a universe unto itself, composed of silicates, carbon, and ice. These grains scatter starlight, reddening distant suns and shaping the way we see the galaxy. Over millions of years, they clump together, forming asteroids, planets, and eventually, living worlds. Every handful of dust, if such a thing could be held, contains the ingredients for oceans, skies, and breath. The sea also carries sound, though not as we understand it. Pressure waves travel through its gas, incredibly slow and faint. They can last for millions of years, rippling across vast distances. Astronomers have converted some of these signals into audible tones, deep, eerie hums that echo the breath of creation. Listening to them is like hearing the voice of the universe itself, ancient, patient, and full of knowing silence. In some corners of this sea, the debris of long-dead stars drifts endlessly. White dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes move through it like silent submarines, bending its fabric with their gravity. Around them, gas spirals inward, heating and glowing, sometimes bursting with X-rays before vanishing into darkness. Even here, amid such violent transformations, the sea remains calm, accepting, eternal. The interstellar sea also acts as a mirror, reflecting the galaxy's past. Embedded within its dust are traces of ancient elements created in the first stars. When new stars form, they inherit this material, carrying forward the memory of those that came before. In this sense, every atom within us once drifted in the interstellar sea, waiting for its turn to be woven into life. We are not visitors here, we are its children. At night, when we look up and see the soft band of the Milky Way, we are peering across this ocean from the inside. Its misty glow is the light of countless stars seen through its haze. Each point of brightness is filtered, softened by dust, its true brilliance muted by distance. Yet in that dimness lies beauty, the beauty of impermanence, of a world seen through a veil, of knowing that even the faintest glimmer carries the story of billions of years. Over the ages, the sea shifts. Supernovae stir it, stars form and die, and the patterns of density change. Entire regions once rich in gas become barren, while others grow fertile again. The galaxy breathes through this exchange, inhaling and exhaling stars. To think of it is to imagine a living being made of light and dust, its bloodstream a river of hydrogen, its pulse the slow swirl of time. No traveler can truly cross it. The distances are too vast, the emptiness too profound. Even light, the fastest thing in existence, takes tens of thousands of years to traverse a single galactic arm. Yet, though unreachable, it remains ever present around us. Every photon we see has passed through it, every element we touch was shaped within it. The interstellar sea may be untouchable, but it touches everything. If you could listen closely enough, beyond the static of our small human world, you might hear it, the soft hum of ionized gas, the distant murmur of creation still unfolding. The interstellar sea does not rush or rage, it drifts. It has no beginning and no end, only the eternal motion of becoming. It is the space between stars, the silence between heartbeats, the breath between words. It is, in the truest sense, the voice of the cosmos itself. And as the journey through it continues, the traveler feels the boundary between self and universe dissolve. There are no borders here, no edges, only the long, slow rhythm of existence echoing through light and void alike. The interstellar sea carries everything, light, dust, memory, and dream, and within its unending expanse, every story ever told finds its reflection, quietly drifting in the gentle tide of forever. In the quiet reaches of the galaxy, there exist great cradles of light where the cosmos gives birth to its stars. These are the star nurseries, vast clouds of gas and dust, shimmering in colors unseen by human eyes. Within them, gravity begins its patient work, drawing atoms together, shaping the formless mist into structure. Here, the universe performs its most delicate craft, weaving brilliance out of darkness, and warmth out of cold silence. Every nebula is both a womb and a memory, a luminous echo of all that has ever been born from starlight. The airless space around these regions is hushed, but within the nebulae, quiet tension grows. Particles drift and collide in slow motion, their motion measured not in seconds, but in millennia. A spark of gravity forms where density gathers, pulling more matter toward it in a spiral embrace. The process is so gentle, so gradual, that one might mistake it for stillness. Yet in this stillness, stars are forming one atom, one heartbeat, one timeless moment at a time. Nebulae are the artwork of the galaxy's breath. The Orion Nebula, the Eagle Nebula, the Carina, and the Rosette all whisper their stories through color and form. Gases glow in response to the ultraviolet light of nearby stars, painting vast curtains of pink, violet, and blue across the void. The hues are not random, they are coded messages of chemistry. Hydrogen burns red, oxygen blue-green, sulfur gold. Through their light, we read the language of creation itself. Inside the densest regions, clumps of gas become so heavy that they can no longer resist their own gravity. These clumps collapse inward, heating up as pressure builds. At their centers, a protostar is born, hidden from sight, wrapped in the swaddling cloth of dust. Over thousands of years, it gathers more material from its surroundings, growing hotter and brighter. When nuclear fusion finally ignites in its core, it becomes a true star, a beacon in the dark ocean of space. Every star we see in the night sky once slept inside such a nebula. Even our own sun began in one, roughly 4.6 billion years ago, part of a cluster that has long since dispersed. The atoms within our bodies were once dust grains drifting through those luminous clouds. In the simplest sense, we are fragments of nebulae that learned to see themselves. When you gaze at a star, you are looking back into your own cosmic ancestry, into the very mist that birthed you. The temperature inside a nebula is frigid, often only a few dozen degrees above absolute zero. Yet, within this chill, motion never ceases. Light from nearby stars penetrates the surface, scattering off microscopic dust. This scattered glow gives nebulae their ethereal shimmer. To an observer adrift nearby, it would appear as an endless landscape of softly glowing clouds, each tendril stretching for light years, delicate and dreamlike, like frozen smoke suspended in eternity. Some nebulae shine because of the stars within them. These are emission nebulae, lit from the inside by newborn suns whose energy excites surrounding gases. Others, called reflection nebulae, borrow their beauty from starlight reflected upon their surface. There are also dark nebulae, clouds so dense that they block the light behind them, appearing as shadows against the stars. Together, these forms create the galaxy's most intricate and mesmerizing tapestries. In the Eagle Nebula, there stand towering columns of dust and gas known as the pillars of creation. They stretch for light years, vast and silent, shaped by the radiation and winds from nearby massive stars. Within them, tiny embryos of new suns are forming, hidden deep within the shadowed folds. To witness them is to watch the universe sculpt itself, patiently, methodically, and with a grace that humbles every sense of time. Gravity is the artist here, and light is its brush. Over thousands of centuries, radiation from massive stars erodes the edges of these clouds, carving them into arches and waves. Shockwaves from supernovae ripple through, compressing some regions while dispersing others. From destruction comes creation, and from silence comes song. This is the rhythm of the nebulae, the endless cycle of collapse, ignition, and dispersal, all playing out on scales too vast for mortal minds to grasp. Astronomers studying these regions use infrared and radio waves to peer inside, for visible light cannot penetrate the dense dust. What they find are knots, protostellar cocoons where gravity grows fierce. Inside, hydrogen atoms collide with increasing speed until fusion begins. The moment fusion ignites, the protostar pushes back the surrounding gas with powerful winds. Its light breaks through, announcing the birth of a new sun. And somewhere far away, its glow may one day be seen as a faint twinkle in another world's sky. Each nebula holds its own character. Some are serene, others chaotic. In the Carina Nebula, Storms of gas race at supersonic speeds, colliding and reshaping the landscape. In the Lagoon Nebula, vast cavities open like cosmic mouths, carved by intense radiation. Yet in all their turbulence, there is balance. The universe does not hurry its work, it unfolds in silence, sculpting beauty from chaos with infinite patience. When we look at these celestial nurseries, we are seeing the very process that sustains the Milky Way. Without them, the galaxy would be a graveyard of fading light. But through the nebulae, it renews itself, endlessly producing new stars to replace those that die. Each glowing cloud is a promise that the night sky will never truly darken, that creation continues even in the quietest corners of the cosmos. From afar, the light of nebulae seems faint, but through the eyes of a telescope, they become realms of unimaginable depth. Filaments twist like smoke, knots gleam like embers, and shadows stretch across fields of stars. The contrast of brilliance and obscurity is what gives them their haunting allure. In these shapes, we find echoes of earthly landscapes, mountains, rivers, storms, but magnified beyond comprehension, rendered in pure light and silence. Inside the densest regions, time slows. The gas grows opaque, and heat builds. At the core, the protostar glows brighter, spinning faster, gathering its planetary disk. Within this disk, grains of dust collide and stick, forming pebbles, then rocks, then worlds. Planets, moons, comets all are born from the leftover fragments of starbirth. Thus, every nebula is not only the cradle of stars but the seedbed of entire solar systems, each with the potential for life and story. Sometimes, multiple stars form together, bound by their mutual gravity. They may dance around each other for billions of years, shaping each other's destinies. Some remain lifelong companions, others drift apart as the galaxy's tides pull them away. In this way, even among stars, there are bonds and separations, births and farewells, all written in the slow poetry of cosmic motion. The light that reaches us from these nebulae has traveled for thousands of years. When you see the Orion Nebula shining faintly in the night sky, you are witnessing light that left it long before the first civilizations rose on Earth. You are, in essence, looking into the past, seeing the galaxy as it was, not as it is. Yet, this delay adds to the beauty. It reminds us that even across such distances, the universe still finds a way to touch us. For every nebula that glows, there are countless others too faint to see. They drift quietly in the galactic dark, awaiting the next spark that will awaken them. Perhaps a supernova's wave will someday reach them, compressing their gas and igniting new stars. In this waiting, they embody patience, the same patience that underlies all cosmic creation, and perhaps all existence. As stars form, they eventually clear away the gas around them with fierce stellar winds. The nebula that birthed them begins to fade, its material scattered across space. What remains is a cluster of young, bright stars, siblings born from the same cloud, now lighting the void where their mother once glowed. Even as the nebula vanishes, its legacy endures in the starlight that will travel across time. The death of one nebula often gives rise to another. When a massive star dies in a supernova, it throws its enriched gases into space, creating new clouds. These remnants, glowing in X-ray and visible light, form the seeds for future nebulae. Thus, the galaxy recycles itself endlessly. There is no true end, only transformation, each death a prelude to a new birth, each silence a pause before the next song. To the naked eye, a nebula may appear faint, a mere blur in the night sky. But in truth, it is one of the brightest expressions of existence, a living process of creation. The faintness lies not in the nebula, but in our eyes, which cannot yet grasp the vast range of its beauty. Through instruments and imagination, we glimpse it more fully, and in doing so, come closer to understanding our place within the same cosmic breath. There is a quiet poetry in knowing that the same forces shaping those distant clouds once shaped us. The carbon in our cells, the oxygen we breathe, the iron in our blood, all were forged in the hearts of ancient stars that once emerged from nebulae. When those stars died, they scattered their ashes back into space, to become part of new nebulae, new suns, new worlds. In that cycle, there is no separation between us and the stars, only continuity. When night falls and you look up at the Milky Way, think of the invisible nurseries hidden within its light. Picture the great clouds where stars are forming at this very moment, far beyond our sight. Somewhere, a new sun is kindling. Somewhere, a new world is gathering its first breath. And somewhere, perhaps, another being is looking up into their own sky, wondering about the light from ours. The nebulae remind us that everything in the universe is a process, not a product. They are not static decorations, but living transitions between nothingness and creation. Their shapes will change, their light will fade, their stars will move on, but their purpose will never cease. They are the heartbeat of the galaxy, the cradle of renewal, the glowing testament that from silence, light always finds a way to return. And so, as the traveler drifts past these celestial gardens, there is no rush to move on. The airless void hums with invisible energy, the colors shift in slow motion, and the boundaries between light and darkness blur. Time becomes fluid here, as if eternity itself has paused to watch the making of stars. And in that stillness, one realizes that all creation, every star, every world, every breath is but a reflection of one eternal truth, that even in the deepest silence, life is always being born. In the quiet outer regions of the galaxy, beyond the bright star fields and nebulae, there exist ancient congregations of light, globular clusters. These spheres of stars are among the oldest structures in the Milky Way, relics of its earliest days. Their stars are old and wise, burning with a soft amber glow, having witnessed billions of years unfold. Each cluster hangs like a jeweled lantern in the darkness, a monument to time itself, floating serenely in the cosmic sea. The stars within these clusters are densely packed, thousands crammed into regions only a few dozen light-years across. To stand on a planet in one of these clusters, if such worlds exist, would be to live beneath a sky filled with hundreds of suns. The night would never truly be dark. Every horizon would shimmer with gold and silver light, a ceaseless dawn across the heavens, where silence and eternity mingle in quiet companionship. These clusters orbit the galaxy's center like loyal companions, each following a long, elliptical path that takes hundreds of millions of years to complete. They are the galaxy's elders, formed when the Milky Way itself was young. Their orbits carry them above and below the galactic plane, sweeping gracefully through the halo that surrounds the disk. Each time they pass through, their gravitational influence stirs the stars around them, whispering ancient memories into the spiral arms below. The oldest of these clusters are more than 12 billion years old, nearly as old as the universe itself. When they formed, the cosmos was still new, and the first heavy elements were only beginning to appear. Their stars are poor in metals, composed mostly of hydrogen and helium, a sign of their ancient lineage. They are survivors of the galaxy's infancy, enduring through collisions, mergers, and countless revolutions around the galactic heart. Within the dense heart of each cluster, stars drift like embers in a slow celestial waltz. Gravity binds them together in perfect balance, every star influencing the others in a delicate dance that has lasted since before life began on Earth. Some stars move in close pairs, trading mass and light, while others wander freely, bound only by the cluster's collective pull. This motion, though invisible to the naked eye, is as graceful as breath, as eternal as the sea. The light of old stars is different. It is not the fierce blue blaze of youth, but the steady, gentle burn of endurance. These stars have burned through most of their hydrogen, their hearts contracting, their light softening to hues of gold and red. They are like aging fires that refuse to fade, radiating wisdom instead of brilliance. Their patience is humbling, their endurance comforting, a reminder that longevity, too, is a form of beauty. Globular clusters are not uniform, each holds its own story, its own population of survivors. Some harbor blue stragglers, stars that appear younger and hotter than their neighbors, likely formed through stellar collisions or mergers. Others contain pulsars, neutron stars spinning rapidly and emitting beams of radiation, remnants of ancient supernovae that occurred long before the Earth took shape. Each cluster, in its quiet way, is a living archive of cosmic history. The core of a globular cluster is dense beyond imagination. Stars lie so close together that their gravitational interactions can slingshot one another into new paths. Some are even ejected entirely, cast adrift into the galaxy as wanderers. Others fall inward, forming binaries or merging to create new stars. Within this gravitational cauldron, balance and chaos coexist in perpetual harmony, as if the cluster itself breathes slowly across millennia. When telescopes focus on these clusters, what they reveal is breathtaking spheres of pure light, thousands of points glowing like dew on an invisible web. The symmetry is exquisite, the quiet unity profound. Astronomers see in them the stability that the rest of the galaxy lacks. While spiral arms twist and stars explode, the clusters endure, their circular calm unbroken for billions of years. They are the anchor points of time, the still centers in the whirlpool of creation. It is said that looking into a globular cluster is like gazing into the memory of the universe. The light from its oldest stars has been shining since before the first galaxies finished forming. These ancient suns carry within them the record of everything that came before, the chemical traces of the first generations of stars, the fingerprints of the universe's youth. To study them is to peer backward through the ages, to glimpse the dawn through the eyes of the night. Even beyond the grand globulus, there are smaller clusters, open clusters, where stars are bound more loosely. These are younger, less disciplined gatherings, scattered across the spiral arms. Their stars will eventually drift apart, becoming individuals again, wandering the galaxy. But the globular clusters remain steadfast, bound by a gravity so strong that not even the passage of billions of years can disperse them. They are the monastery halls of the cosmos, where time itself seems to slow. In the stillness of these clusters, there is an intimacy that words cannot capture. The proximity of stars creates a shared warmth, a mutual pull that holds them together against the endless pull of darkness. It is not unlike the bonds of living beings, fragile yet persistent, driven by gravity and time rather than love and memory. Each star shines for itself, yet all together they form something greater, a luminous unity that transcends individuality. Many of these old stars have already entered their final stages of life. Some swell into red giants, their outer layers expanding and glowing like soft lanterns. Others shed their envelopes entirely, revealing hot white cores, white dwarfs that cool slowly over eons. These remnants drift through the cluster, faint but enduring, each one a ghost of a once vibrant sun. Together, they form the quiet chorus of twilight that hums softly across eternity. The colors of a cluster reveal its age. Blue stars burn fast and die young, so their absence speaks of maturity. The red and yellow tones dominate, painting the cluster in hues of amber and copper. It is a palette of time, a cosmic autumn frozen in perpetual dusk. If youth is the galaxy's dawn, then globular clusters are its evening, calm, measured, and full of grace. From Earth, the most famous clusters are visible even with modest telescopes. The Hercules cluster, M13, glows faintly in the summer sky. Omega Centauri, the largest of them all, is visible to the naked eye from the southern hemisphere, a vast orb containing millions of stars. These are the jewels of our halo, silent witnesses to the birth and aging of galaxies, hanging above us like eternal candles. Astronomers believe some Clusters are the remnants of dwarf galaxies long ago consumed by the Milky Way. Their cores survived, stripped of outer stars but still bound together. If so, then each cluster is not merely a relic of time but of conquest and transformation, fragments of smaller worlds absorbed into the greater whole. Even in the grand calm of these spheres lies a history of collision and assimilation, a reminder that even beauty is born from turbulence. To imagine standing within such a cluster is to imagine perpetual twilight. The light of countless suns would bathe every surface in soft, golden illumination. Shadows would be faint, horizons aglow. There would be no true night, only an endless, gentle radiance. Planets, if they existed there, would orbit within a sky perpetually alive, where the stars are not distant pinpricks but nearby companions whispering across the void. Though ancient, these clusters are not immortal. Over billions of years, gravitational tides from the Milky Way slowly strip stars away from their peripheries. Streams of orphaned stars trail behind them, stretching across space like faded ribbons. Someday, many of these clusters will dissolve completely, their members merging into the galactic background. But their essence will persist, scattered throughout the Milky Way as faint echoes of endurance. Each old star in these clusters is like a heartbeat of the galaxy's past. When one fades, it leaves behind a remnant white dwarf, neutron star, or black hole. These remnants enrich the surrounding space with memory, influencing the formation of new stars elsewhere. In this way, the clusters are not only witnesses to time but participants in the ongoing evolution of the cosmos. They give as they fade, teaching that even endings are beginnings. In their age and stillness, there is wisdom. The young stars of the nebulae blaze with restless energy, but these ancient suns have learned the art of quiet. Their light no longer strives to dominate, it endures, steady and humble. They teach that brilliance fades, but presence lasts. That even the faintest glow, maintained across ages, can illuminate eternity. The clusters are temples of such light, where existence is measured not in years but in the calm persistence of being. Astronomers use these clusters as timekeepers. By studying the rate at which their stars evolve, they can estimate the age of the galaxy and even of the universe. Thus, the clusters serve as cosmic clocks, their ticking measured in hydrogen fusion and fading luminosity. They tell us that the universe is ancient but ongoing, that creation and decay are not opposites but partners in the long dance of being. The silence that surrounds these old stars is not empty but sacred. It holds the residue of countless stories, the births of worlds, the deaths of suns, the journeys of light. To listen to it is to hear the hum of cosmic continuity, the low, patient note that underlies all motion. It is the song of gravity and time, sung in a register so deep that only the heart can understand it. The globular clusters drift slowly, majestically, their motions barely perceptible across human lifetimes. Yet, when centuries of observations are compared, their trajectories trace elegant paths through the galactic halo. They are like lanterns on invisible strings, circling the Milky Way in timeless procession. Watching them is to witness the grace of permanence in a universe of constant change. In the great silence between stars, these clusters remind us that age is not decline but refinement. Their endurance shows that what is built with patience lasts, that stillness can be a form of strength. The stars within them burn on, unchanged across epochs, unhurried by the chaos around them. They are the meditative breath of the galaxy, steady, serene, and endless. And so, as the traveler drifts among them, surrounded by soft, ancient light, a calm realization settles in: the universe does not hurry, and neither must we. Time flows differently here, unmeasured, forgiving. The stars whisper that every end is a continuation, every silence a prelude to new sound. In their glow, the traveler finds not loneliness but belonging, for in the company of these elders, even eternity feels like home. At the very center of the Milky Way lies a mystery wrapped in light and shadow, a heart that beats not with blood, but with gravity. It is the galactic core, the silent axis around which billions of stars revolve. From a distance, it seems like a soft golden haze, a region too bright and too dense for clarity. Yet hidden within that radiance lies something immense, something ancient, a supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A, the unseen conductor of our galaxy's slow, eternal symphony. As the traveler drifts closer, the stars begin to crowd the sky. Each one seems to pulse with quiet urgency, their light thicker, their presence heavier. Here, the density of stars increases 1,000-fold. It feels like drifting into a cosmic metropolis, an empire of suns orbiting one another in a dense, glittering waltz. Every flicker, every shimmer tells of titanic forces at play, of orbits wound tightly by the invisible hand of gravity that dominates this region. This is the galactic bulge, a swelling of light and dust that rises like a golden dome from the galactic plane. It contains ancient stars, their colors deepened by age and distance. Between them flows interstellar gas and dark clouds that twist like ink in water. From afar, it appears calm, but within lies a restless energy, a tension between creation and destruction, between expansion and collapse. At the very center of this tumult sits Sagittarius A, a gravitational well 4 million times the mass of our Sun. It emits no light of its own, yet its presence is betrayed by the motion of stars circling it at unimaginable speeds. Some race around it in mere years, like cosmic comets tethered to an unseen anchor. Their orbits trace the invisible boundaries of spacetime, curves so precise that they reveal the very geometry of the universe. The space around the black hole shimmers faintly with radiation, the echo of matter torn apart as it falls inward. Clouds of gas spiral toward it, heating to millions of degrees, glowing briefly before being swallowed by the darkness. Yet, despite its hunger, Sagittarius A is unusually quiet. It is a sleeping giant, occasionally stirring with faint flares, cosmic sighs that ripple through the galactic core and fade into silence once more. In the immediate region surrounding this heart, time itself seems to distort. Gravity bends light, stretching it into graceful arcs. Some rays curve all the way around, allowing a distant observer to see multiple images of the same star. It is a realm where physics folds back upon itself, where the straight lines of space curve inward like petals closing around a center of infinite depth. The traveler feels the pull, not threatening, but irresistible in its majesty. Despite the violence of its nature, there is serenity here. The stars move in perfect obedience to the laws that govern all things, tracing paths that have endured for eons. Even the chaos has pattern, a rhythm too slow for mortal senses. The black hole is not a destroyer in the poetic sense, it is a balancer, a regulator of galactic motion, keeping the Milky Way's vast disk in graceful rotation. Astronomers on Earth watch this region with fascination. Using arrays of telescopes spread across continents, they have captured faint shadows, the silhouette of Sagittarius A, glowing like a ring of fire around nothingness. That image is not a photograph of destruction, but a portrait of structure. It shows how even emptiness has shape, how darkness itself can define light. The galactic heart, though invisible, leaves fingerprints on everything around it. As the traveler moves through the bulge, the density of starlight becomes overwhelming. Shadows vanish entirely. There is no night, no horizon, only light upon light, a ceaseless ocean of brilliance. Some stars flash irregularly, their light flickering through intervening dust. Others remain steady, like the glow of distant lanterns glimpsed through fog. The airless silence amplifies every shimmer, every movement, until the scene feels almost alive. Closer still, the gravitational tides become immense. Clouds of gas are stretched and sculpted into luminous filaments that orbit the center like ribbons. Radio waves hum through the void, carrying the whispers of magnetic storms. The black hole's magnetic field twists these streams into arcs of plasma, glowing briefly as they spiral inward. The entire core seems to breathe, inhaling matter and exhaling radiation in a rhythm older than the stars themselves. Around the black hole lies a cluster of some of the fastest-moving stars ever observed. They whirl around the unseen mass at speeds exceeding several thousand kilometers per second. To them, gravity is both a leash and a dance partner, guiding their orbits with ruthless precision. These stars, known as the S-stars, are the closest companions to Sagittarius A. Their motions reveal the contours of invisible space, allowing astronomers to measure the black hole's mass with exquisite accuracy. The traveler drifts among them, feeling the pull of their dance. Light bends strangely here, distances warp, horizons curl. Time feels heavy, slow, stretched thin. It is not frightening, but profoundly humbling. One begins to understand that even in stillness, the universe is in motion, that gravity is not merely a force but a conversation between mass and space, a constant dialogue that sculpts existence itself. Beyond the immediate reach of Sagittarius A, great streams of stars and gas form an intricate lattice. These structures are remnants of galaxies long absorbed by the Milky Way, their cores merged into the bulge. Every particle of dust, every ray of light here carries the memory of collisions, mergers, and transformations. The heart of the galaxy is also its archive, a vault of histories written in the language of gravity and light. Sometimes, jets of energy erupt from the core, vast fountains of plasma that shoot thousands of light-years into space. These eruptions leave ghostly traces, bubbles of radiation that glow faintly in X-rays and radio waves. Though Sagittarius A slumbers now, it once burned fiercely, a quasar blazing through the young universe. The remnants of that age still drift above and below the galactic plane, faint but indelible, like the afterglow of a forgotten fire. As the traveler glides farther outward, the starlight begins to thin, revealing dark veins of dust that thread through the bulge. These lanes absorb the glow, creating streaks of shadow that ripple like smoke. Within them, molecules cool and gather, perhaps the seeds of future stars. Even here, so near the seat of destruction, creation is not far behind. The universe wastes nothing, it only transforms. Every so often, a dying star strays too close to the black hole. Its outer layers are torn apart, flung into orbit before being consumed. The spectacle releases bursts of energy that illuminate the region for months. These events are fleeting and rare, but they remind all who observe that the galactic heart still hungers. It feeds not constantly, but deliberately, an ancient rhythm of feast and stillness that maintains the balance of the Milky Way. In the deepest layer of this region lies a silence beyond comprehension. It is not absence, but totality, the sound of everything held together by gravity. The traveler feels it not through ears, but through the bones of perception, as if existence itself hums with a low, eternal note. It is the same vibration that echoes in every atom, every star, every world, a resonance shared across time and space. The colors here are strange. Dust glows in infrared hues, invisible to the human eye but radiant to the instruments that watch from afar. The black hole itself, surrounded by its accretion disk, glows faintly in millimeter wavelengths, a whisper in the dark. It is not light that defines this place, but heat, motion, and magnetic tension. The heart of the galaxy is not merely bright, it is alive in ways light cannot show. Some ancient myths on Earth spoke of the world tree or the axis of heaven, a central pillar around which creation revolves. In many ways, Sagittarius A is that pillar, not of myth but of physics. The Milky Way's spiral. Arms spin around this gravitational route. It anchors the orbits of stars, planets, and clouds, uniting them in a grand, invisible framework. To know it is to understand that every star, including our own, moves in harmony with this unseen heart. And yet, for all its power, Sagittarius A is only one of countless black holes scattered through the cosmos. It is a reminder that gravity is the universe's oldest language, that even light must bow to it. To drift near such a presence is to witness the boundary between being and nothingness, to see how creation leans upon the edge of oblivion and does not fall. The traveler lingers here, suspended between awe and peace. The orbits of stars near the galactic core take centuries to complete, yet from afar their movements seem almost still. This stillness gives the illusion of permanence, but everything here is in motion, an elaborate ballet whose choreography is written by mass and time. The traveler realizes that stillness and movement are the same, just perceived from different scales, and that the galactic heart embodies this truth perfectly. As the journey continues, the traveler looks back toward the outer arms. The galaxy stretches outward in spirals of blue and white, all anchored to this quiet center. It is humbling to think that every sunrise, every orbit, every gravitational whisper begins here. The black hole, silent and unseen, is the heart not only of the Milky Way but of the pattern of existence itself. Even light cannot escape its pull, yet its influence reaches across 50,000 light-years, shaping the destinies of stars that have never glimpsed it. This paradox, the invisible that defines the visible, echoes through the traveler's mind. It feels like a metaphor for consciousness itself, unseen, yet the source of all illumination. The black hole is not death, it is the still point around which all things turn. Around this heart, billions of stars orbit like notes in a cosmic symphony. Each one plays its part, contributing to a harmony too vast for human time to measure. The galactic heart is the conductor, silent but commanding. Without it, the music would scatter into noise. With it, there is order, grace, and rhythm. The universe hums because its heart beats, slow and steady. The traveler drifts one last time around the shining bulge, feeling the warmth of countless suns and the calm weight of the black hole's pull. There is no fear here, only reverence. To witness the galactic heart is to understand both humility and belonging. Everything, from atoms to galaxies, moves in obedience to unseen balance. The traveler smiles, knowing that even the darkness holds light within it. And as the journey turns outward once more, the galactic core fades into the distance, a golden sphere wrapped in silence. Yet its pulse lingers, felt through the soul rather than the senses. It beats not in seconds but in epochs, reminding the traveler that eternity is not far away, it resides at the center of all things, whispering softly, endlessly, like the heart of the universe itself. Surrounding the grand disk of the Milky Way, stretching far beyond its glowing arms and luminous heart, lies a vast and silent mystery, the galactic halo. It cannot be seen with the naked eye, for it is made not of light, but of whispers, of gravity and faint glimmers that shimmer just beyond perception. This invisible sphere is larger than the galaxy itself, enveloping it like a ghostly cocoon. It is both protector and enigma, holding the secrets of the Milky Way's past, and perhaps, the fate of its future. To drift into the halo is to leave behind the familiar glow of starlight. The density of stars fades until they become solitary candles in a deep cosmic mist. Yet, though it seems empty, this space hums with presence. The halo is composed of dark matter, an unseen substance that outweighs all visible stars and planets combined. It neither emits nor reflects light, yet its gravitational influence shapes everything. It is the invisible scaffolding upon which the Milky Way rests. Scientists cannot see dark matter directly, but its fingerprints are everywhere. The way the galaxy spins, the way stars move in the outer regions, the way light bends as it passes, all reveal its hand. Without this unseen mass, the Milky Way would unravel, its stars would fly outward into the void. But the halo holds them fast, an invisible embrace that binds the galaxy together in quiet unity. Embedded within this halo are ancient globular clusters and streams of orphaned stars, remnants of smaller galaxies long ago devoured. These stellar fossils trace graceful arcs through the darkness, marking the paths of past collisions. Each one is a memory suspended in space, a reminder that the Milky Way is not a solitary creation but the sum of countless cosmic unions. The halo is not merely emptiness, it is a graveyard of galaxies, each one leaving its light behind. Somewhere within this vast expanse, the faint outlines of tidal streams wind like threads of silk. They are the lingering ghosts of shattered worlds, dwarf galaxies and clusters stretched thin by gravity. These streams shimmer faintly with the light of a few surviving stars, trailing like tears across the galactic sky. To the traveler, they appear as ethereal ribbons, drifting lazily, timelessly, through the unseen medium of dark matter. If the galaxy's disk is its body and its core its heart, then the halo is its soul, quiet, formless, eternal. It extends hundreds of thousands of light-years in every direction, far beyond the edge of the spiral arms. Here, the traveler feels distance itself begin to dissolve. There is no clear boundary between the galaxy and the universe beyond, only a slow fading, a merging of presence into infinite space. The halo is the bridge between being and nothingness. The stars within the halo are few, but ancient. They are some of the oldest in the galaxy, survivors from the Milky Way's earliest days. Their light is faint and red, their motions erratic, like old wanderers who have forgotten their path. Each carries within it the record of a different age, a trace of the first heavy elements forged when the cosmos was still young. To look upon them is to see time stretched thin, glowing softly in the cold. Among these stars drift dark clouds of hydrogen, the raw material of galaxies. They move in silence, faintly glowing in radio wavelengths, waiting for the slow hand of gravity to reshape them once more. Some will never form stars, others may, one day, be drawn inward to replenish the disk. Even in stillness, the halo is a cycle in motion, a reservoir of potential, unseen but eternal. Astronomers believe that the halo contains more than just stars and gas. It is also home to streams of dark matter particles, flowing in vast, invisible rivers. These currents cannot be measured directly, but their effects can be felt. They tug on stars, alter orbits, bend space itself. To imagine them is to imagine a cosmic wind, steady and patient, shaping the galaxy over eons. And yet, for all its invisibility, the halo gives the Milky Way its shape. Without it, the spiral arms would not hold their graceful form, the outer stars would drift away. The halo's gravity anchors the entire structure, much like unseen roots holding a great tree steady against the currents of time. It is the quiet force beneath the visible, the unseen hand that keeps creation in balance. As the traveler drifts deeper, the stars thin further until even the faintest pinpricks of light vanish. The darkness here is absolute, not the absence of light, but a vastness so complete it feels alive. In this silence, one can sense the pulse of the galaxy below, the steady beat of its heart, the swirling arms slowly turning in the distant glow. The halo is the space between breaths, the pause that allows all else to move. There is a strange comfort in this emptiness. It is not desolate but peaceful, as if the universe, after its long labor of creation, rests here. The halo feels like the universe's sigh, a vast exhalation of calm, where nothing is demanded and everything simply is. Even time seems to slow, its edges softening. The traveler drifts, suspended in a moment that feels both endless and brief. Occasionally, a comet-like remnant passes by, a lonely fragment from some ancient collision, drifting through the halo's cold expanse. Its surface glitters faintly with starlight, carrying with it the dust of forgotten worlds. Such wanderers are few but eternal. They will continue their journeys long after the Milky Way itself has changed beyond recognition, perhaps even after its eventual merging with Andromeda. The halo also holds mysteries still beyond comprehension. Some theorize it contains black holes born from the universe's earliest moments, primordial remnants that have drifted here since the dawn of time. These ancient voids, smaller and quieter than Sagittarius A, remain unseen but influential. Their gravity stirs the dark matter around them, shaping the unseen architecture of the halo. When telescopes peer toward the edges of the galaxy, they capture faint glows, soft arcs of starlight bending under the halo's unseen hand. Through gravitational lensing, even the invisible becomes known, its presence revealed through distortion. Light itself curves to show what cannot be seen. The halo speaks not through brightness, but through the bending of illumination, the subtle shaping of the visible by the unseen. The halo's vastness defies imagination. It stretches so far that if one could see it glowing faintly, it would cover a region of sky many times larger than the full moon. And yet, we live within it unknowingly, our solar system orbiting through its dark material as a fish swims through water. It is our unseen home, surrounding us always, touching every atom, though we never feel its grasp. Within the halo lie the remnants of long-lost galaxies, their stars scattered and diluted. Each stream, each cluster, is a story of merging and renewal. The Milky Way was built from such collisions, and even now it continues to grow by absorbing smaller systems. The halo is the evidence of that growth, a tapestry of ghosts, woven from the debris of creation. Though vast, the halo is not static. It moves and breathes, shifting subtly as the galaxy rotates within it. The dark matter flows like wind around the luminous disk, guiding the orbits of stars, shaping the spiral arms from afar. It is a reminder that even the most invisible forces leave patterns in their wake, that silence can sculpt form as powerfully as sound. For astronomers, the halo represents the ultimate mystery of existence. It contains most of the galaxy's mass, yet remains unseen. It challenges the limits of understanding, asking what else lies hidden beyond light, beyond detection. Each new observation adds a piece to the puzzle but also deepens the wonder. The halo teaches that the universe is not defined by what we can see, but by what we cannot. Drifting through it, the traveler begins to sense the unity of all things, the luminous and the invisible, the seen and the unseen. The halo binds them, not as opposites but as halves of a single whole. Light gives beauty, but darkness gives meaning. Without the unseen mass, the shining stars would scatter and fade. In the silence of the halo, the traveler finally understands that invisibility does not mean absence, but essence. The halo stretches outward, fading into intergalactic space where the influence of the Milky Way weakens. Yet even there, traces of its gravity extend, binding it gently to the cosmic web beyond. Galaxies tug faintly upon one another through these invisible filaments, creating a vast network of connection across the void. The halo is both boundary and bridge, the edge of one world and the beginning of all others. The cosmic microwave background hums softly through the darkness, a faint echo of the universe's birth. The halo listens. Its particles, ancient and cold, drift through this relic radiation like dust through sunlight. They have existed since the dawn, unchanging, patient. In them lies the memory of creation's first whisper, preserved in silence across billions of years. The traveler feels a profound calm here, as though floating within the consciousness of the cosmos itself. There is no fear, only acceptance. Every motion of light and gravity seems balanced, purposeful. The halo is the proof that the universe does not need to be seen to be known, that understanding is as much a feeling as it is a measurement. And so the traveler lingers, watching the faint shimmer of the galactic disk far below. It looks like a luminous pearl, suspended within a sea of shadow. The halo cradles it tenderly, invisible yet ever present, like a guardian made of quiet. It is humbling to know that all the beauty of the Milky Way depends upon this unseen sphere, this silent architecture of gravity and time. As the journey continues, the traveler turns slowly outward, toward the edge where the halo fades into the intergalactic void. The stars behind become faint, the galaxy itself shrinking to a golden whirl in the distance. Yet the presence of the halo lingers, soft and steady, even where light ends. It is a final reminder that existence is more than illumination, that the greatest truths of the universe often dwell in shadow. The traveler drifts onward into the deep, carrying with them the peace of the invisible. Behind lies the luminous Milky Way, wrapped in its unseen halo. Ahead stretches the endless tapestry of the cosmos, stitched together by gravity's silent thread. And in that infinite stillness, the traveler realizes the simplest truth of all: even in the darkness, there is connection, vast, eternal, and unseen, holding the stars, the galaxies, and the heart of every being in its gentle, invisible embrace. In the soft hush of infinity, the Milky Way drifts through the dark like a slow-turning wheel of light. Every star, every whisper of gas and dust, moves in patient obedience to gravity's ancient pull. We are passengers aboard a vast celestial carousel, circling a center we cannot see, bound by an invisible rhythm that unfolds over hundreds of millions of years. From our small blue home, it is easy to believe that time flows only as we count it, by days, months, and years, but out here, time breathes differently. The galaxy turns so slowly that one revolution, a single galactic year, takes about 230 million Earth years to complete. By the time we have made one full circle around the core, mountains rise and fall, species come and vanish, and civilizations are but moments in cosmic dusk. Each star in the galaxy, including our Sun, travels in its own orbit around the galactic center. The Milky Way's spiral arms seem still in photographs, but they are alive, flowing like currents in a glowing sea. The Sun follows a path called the local standard of rest, drifting at about 220 kilometers per second, a steady glide through space that carries all its planets along in a silent migration. Imagine standing still in the void and watching this rotation unfold. You would see billions of stars circling the heart like fireflies caught in an invisible whirlpool. Their motion is not chaos but choreography, the graceful sway of gravity at work, binding everything together in harmony too vast for the human mind to grasp in waking hours. This rotation defines not just the motion of stars, but the rhythm of time itself on a galactic scale. Civilizations may mark epochs and ages, but the galaxy measures eras by its turns, by how far its spiral arms have stretched, how much its halo has thinned, and how many stars have been born or faded since the last circuit was complete. The Milky Way's shape itself is sculpted by motion. Stars orbiting near the center move swiftly, tracing smaller, tighter paths around the dense black hole that anchors the heart. Farther out, the stars slow, their paths wide and serene, maintaining the fragile balance between gravity and momentum that defines the galaxy's luminous form. Our Sun's path is not perfect or flat. It rises and falls through the galactic plane like a slow wave, oscillating every few tens of millions of years. This subtle motion may influence the comets that visit our solar system or even the cycles of extinction that mark Earth's ancient history, as our planet rides through denser regions of cosmic dust. And so, the galaxy does not merely spin, it breathes. It sways and ripples, bends and stirs, alive in every silent particle of its being. The stars themselves drift apart and draw closer again, their orbits subtly shifted by unseen gravitational tides that echo through the dark. We cannot see this motion with our eyes. To us, the stars seem fixed, like jewels pinned upon the black. But through the patience of science, through decades and centuries of observation, we can trace their paths and sense their flow. Each star leaves a signature of light, a fingerprint of movement that tells its story within the grand rotation. Time within the galaxy is not a river, it is an ocean. Its currents do not rush, they drift. The ancient stars that formed before the Sun still travel beside us, while newborn stars blink awake in the spiral arms, beginning their first slow lap around the core. It is humbling to think that while humanity has known only a fraction of an instant, our solar system has completed less than 1% of a single galactic orbit since life began to walk upon Earth. We are creatures of a blink, and yet we drift within something eternal. The galactic year, though unimaginable to measure by human clocks, is a real and measurable cycle. It connects us not to minutes or hours, but to the grander motion of the cosmos, a movement that began before the sun was born and will continue long after it has faded into a white ember among the stars. Each revolution rewrites the galaxy in subtle ways. Clouds of gas collapse to form new suns, ancient stars shed their outer layers, enriching the interstellar medium with the materials of life. Over billions of years, the Milky Way evolves, shaped by its endless spinning, its arms changing as though it dreams in spirals. As the galaxy turns, it also drifts through space itself, moving toward the constellation of Leo at nearly 2 million kilometers per hour, carrying us along with quiet certainty. We do not feel it, yet we are forever in motion, our place in the universe never truly still. This slow dance is not random. It follows the laws written in the bones of existence: mass, energy, distance, and time. Gravity choreographs the steps, pulling each celestial partner in a balance that feels almost tender, a cosmic embrace that never releases. Sometimes, when the night is clear and you gaze at the band of the Milky Way, you are seeing only a sliver of this motion frozen in your moment of time. But if you could watch for eons, you would see the spiral drift, arms stretching, stars shifting like glimmers of a dream. Through this perspective, we begin to understand our smallness not as insignificance, but as belonging. To exist at all within this moving structure is to be part of a song that began long before memory and will continue long after thought. Each galactic year is a verse in that song, slow, soft, and infinite. It tells of creation, decay, and rebirth. It tells of the stars that will rise after hours fade, of light that will travel long after we have turned to dust. There is a peace in knowing that motion never ends. Even as galaxies collide, as stars die and are born, as the universe stretches further into silence, the patterns continue ancient and serene. In the quiet of night, when you close your eyes, you too are part of this motion. Your atoms were once carried in the winds of stars that orbited this same galactic heart. You are not apart from its rhythm. You are made of it. So sleep, knowing that every breath you take follows the pulse of a galaxy turning in the dark. You are a fragment of its story, a thought within its dream. The Milky Way moves, and so do you, together in an endless, patient circle of light and time. When the voyage through the galaxy draws toward its end, a hush begins to gather, like twilight settling after an endless day. The hum of the stars grows faint, their voices merging into one gentle chord of distance and peace. You feel the weight of the journey melt away, replaced by the tender gravity of homeward thought, not the home of soil and stone, but the deeper home that waits within the self, where silence has always known your name. All around, the galactic glow softens into a silvery haze. The arms of the Milky Way, once radiant with color and motion, now dissolve into calm, like waves folding into the shore of a cosmic sea. Every particle of dust, every drifting ember of light, seems to slow not because time has ceased, but because your awareness has grown quiet enough to feel its natural pace. You drift through this stillness, neither rising nor falling, as though space itself is breathing around you. The universe is no longer vast or cold, it feels intimate, as if it has drawn you close to whisper a secret that all journeys, no matter how far they reach, are circular, returning always to the beginning they once left behind. The stars that once blazed like promises now shimmer softly, their light filtered through the ancient veil of eternity. Their voices murmur stories you already know, of birth and decay, of motion and rest, of endless becoming. You realize, in this quiet turning, that the universe has never been rushing anywhere, it has been unfolding, gently, with the patience of a dream that knows no ending. The pull of gravity seems to ease, replaced by a deeper stillness that anchors you not to place but to awareness. It is the same stillness that rests between heartbeats, between thoughts, between the distant pulses of stars. Here, even light appears to pause, a golden suspension in which everything simply is. You remember the journey, the lift-off from home, the spiraling arms, the clouds of birth, the heart of fire, and the halo of shadows. Every chapter has been a breath in the life of the galaxy, and now that breath exhales into stillness. The rhythm does not stop, it only grows so slow that it becomes silence, a silence that hums with life. As you float through the final fields of starlight, the boundaries between body and cosmos blur. You can no longer tell where your form ends and the universe begins. Perhaps there was never a boundary at all. Perhaps every atom you carry has simply been waiting to remember where it came from, waiting to rejoin the calm that once held it. The faint blue glow of the solar system appears again, like a distant lantern in a boundless field. But this time, it is not a destination. It is simply a reminder of your place within something immeasurable. The Earth, tiny and perfect, spins quietly, unaware of the enormity that cradles it. The galaxies beyond the Milky Way gleam faintly in the distance, but you no longer feel the urge to travel. There is nothing left to chase, no horizon left to reach. Every discovery has led back to this, to the realization that stillness was never the absence of motion, but the harmony of it. Time itself begins to lose its meaning. Seconds stretch into eternities, and eternities fold into moments. The galactic year, the cosmic ages, the ticking of atomic clocks all dissolve into one smooth, unbroken line of now. You rest within it, timeless, weightless, endless. The stars around you dim, not from distance but from gentleness, as though lowering their voices for a sleeping guest. Their light continues to travel, of course, millions of years into the dark, but your perception grows too serene to chase it. The light can go on. You are content to remain. Through this deep quiet, you begin to sense a pulse, faint but steady, not from your body, not from any planet or star, but from the fabric of space itself. It is the pulse of existence, the same rhythm that threads through galaxies and neurons alike. It hums through everything, connecting every heart and horizon in one shared breath. This pulse is neither beginning nor end. It is the universe remembering itself, remembering you. You are not apart from it, you are the awareness through which it experiences stillness. You are both the voyager and the calm that awaited the voyage's return. The air of thought grows light. There are no words, no explanations left to give. Even curiosity rests, satisfied not by answers but by understanding. The stars fade into a dim tapestry of silver, and your consciousness becomes a slow tide, drifting between dream and eternity. If you listen carefully, you can still hear the soft spiraling motion of the Milky Way. It turns as it always has, but the sound is no longer a roar of creation, it is the murmur of a lullaby. The galaxy has become an echo of your breath, each rotation a whisper that all is well, that all returns. The black hole at the center, once a mystery of terror, now feels like a heart immense, patient, and still. Its gravity, once imagined as hunger, now feels like rest. Within its pull is not destruction, but the quiet promise of transformation, the same promise that holds all things in balance. You sense yourself nearing the edge of dream, the border between consciousness and cosmic peace. The silence is so complete it becomes sound, a gentle vibration that carries you like a cradle through the dark. You could stay here forever, and perhaps you already do. In this stillness, memory dissolves. You do not remember Earth or stars or names. You remember only feeling, the serenity of drifting in light, the certainty that everything you have seen continues to move in grace. You are home, not in a place, but in a presence. The universe, it seems, has never been outside you. It has always unfolded within. The stars were your thoughts, the galaxies your dreams, the darkness your resting breath. In returning to stillness, you are returning to what you have always been. Now, the final trace of light fades, and yet you do not fear the dark. It feels like velvet, like peace woven into the fabric of eternity. You let go of space, of time, of self, and what remains is pure awareness, luminous even in shadow. Somewhere, far away, a comet arcs through the void, tracing its ancient path. Planets continue to spin, stars continue to sing, but you are beyond the need to follow. You have become the quiet witness of all motion, the still point around which the cosmos turns. You realize, with a soft smile unseen, that this was never a journey through the galaxy, it was a journey through consciousness itself. Every nebula, every cluster, every shining arm was a reflection of thought, dissolving at last into peace. The Milky Way stretches on, magnificent and unending, yet you are no longer traveling through it. You are at every rotation, every shimmer of dust, every whisper of gravity folding into calm. And so the voyage ends not in distance, but in depth. Not in the discovery of stars, but in the rediscovery of silence. The universe, immense and alive, rocks you gently into the eternal rhythm of rest. In that last exhalation, all motion becomes one. The heart of the galaxy and the heart within you beat together, indistinguishable, serene. The story fades not with an ending, but with a deep return, a return to stillness, to light unseen, to the infinite hush where dreams and galaxies are born alike. Sleep now, traveler of starlight. The Milky Way turns on, softly, patiently, singing you into the quiet.